As of filming and recording and doing this voiceover, I have been sick. Tim suggested that I put on makeup. Don't worry, he won't be doing that again. I am still super excited to be playing with brand new My Favorite Things August release. Woo! I'm going to show you what I have of the release. This is the Friendship Rocks stamp set, and it coordinates well with the Take the Stage dynamics. It's like a stage curtain. That's super cool to use together. I also have the Captivating Mandala. The Captivating Mandala die and stencil and the background stamp, they all coordinate well together. And in fact, I have a project. Nope, still can't fly. This project was featured on a blog post earlier this week on my blog at korenwiskman.com, and I used these products on this exact project. I just love the fonts of these word dies, and this flower, I cannot wait to use this to enhance my Mickey ears for an upcoming vacation. It's going to be great. This is the Birdhouse Die-namics and the Birds of a Feather Die-namics. They are super cute together. There's the From Me to You and From All of Us stamp sets, and it says, I am so sorry for your loss. And wouldn't that be great with this, the puzzle dynamics, if there was a puzzle piece falling loose, like a piece of you was missing. I'm just gonna go on and brush my shoulder off for that one right there. I also have the August freebie with that adorable cow. But guys, come on. Birdie Brown?
I love me some Birdie Brown. Birdie Brown.
If you have not guessed already, today's video will feature the new Birdie Brown set, Frightfully Sweet, and some other fabulous My Favorite Things goodies. So I also pulled out some other things that I thought I might be using, especially these Wonky stitched rectangles. I love those, and I don't use them nearly enough. I'm using my craft mat, my white tonic craft mat here. I love the white surface, guys. I am not afraid of this white surface. I think it'll look used and beautiful with the staining and the stuff that comes with having a white surface. So I'm not afraid. I'm using some Thermoweb purple tape to tape down a piece of Strathmore Bristol smooth white cardstock. We're going to kind of design my own scene in the background here. I imagine trick-or-treaters in the late night Halloween trick-or-treating event that happens here in the United States. So I'm drawing myself some sky, I'm drawing myself some asphalt, and I'm drawing myself some grass, or a sidewalk rather. So here I'm kind of drawing in the slats or sections of the cement, not slats, sections of cement, okay? And I'm going to use this new MFT stencil to add like some street light shining down onto my background. I'm using some Avery repositionable label sheet to mask off my sky from my ground. So I'm using some Distress Oxide inks. This one is Blueprint Sketch. I'm getting my ink blending tool nice and inked up with the Blueprint Sketch. And I'm going around, starting from the outside, working my way inside.
How long do you think till the sweatshirt comes off?
I am definitely working up a sweat, but I love the way that these blend, and it really stays on the surface of this paper quite a long time so that you can blend them really well together. This is Distress Oxide and Black Soot that I'm doing the same exact thing as I did with the Blueprint Sketch, and then going back in with the Blueprint Sketch and doing exactly the same thing once again, blending it all together. So I just keep blending until I feel like it looks like a really nice dark sky, and I think I really like the way that it turned out. So I'm going to take that piece of Avery repositionable label sheet and turn it around so that I can now mask off my asphalt. Okay, so now I'm trying to make a dark road underneath my sky in my scene that I'm creating here. So I've got Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide, and I'm doing the exact same thing as I did on the sky, only on the asphalt now. So I'm going in with the black soot to darken up the outside areas, blending it into the inside and making it look like a street. And this is not rocket science. I just keep doing this over and over again. And here is the result of the sky and street together. And I really, really like how it turned out. So now I'm just removing my masks and moving them down. And now we're going to work on some sidewalk. So I'm using the Avery repositionable tape again to mask off a strip of sidewalk. Now, only this time I want to have those not slats, but strips of cement, and I want them to be some definition in between them. So I took some purple tape and I'm masking off each individual slat, whatever, piece of sidewalk. I'm changing to my ink daubers because it's a much smaller, I feel like I have more control, but okay, so that could have been tragic. Let me take care of that mess. So now with my ink-stained thumb, I'm going to go in with some Frayed Burlap, which is on a brown, it's like a browner shade. And I'm going to make it a little cooler with some Hickory Smoke on top of that. And those two together made a pretty good looking sidewalk. I just continued doing the same exact thing, masking off each square of the sidewalk and doing the ink blending on a much smaller scale than the sky, but it's the same principles. And just going back in and making it look like a cooler toned sidewalk more so than the asphalt. So once I get all of my pieces of sidewalk masked and inked, and I start to pull off the tape and reveal the sidewalk behind it, and I love it. It looks so cool. Now I'm taking the In the Spotlight stencil, also by MFT, and I'm inking with fossilized amber towards the outside of this spotlight, and then blending it all together with the squeezed lemonade. So here is a little peek of how it looks. When you're sick, you go hot and cold, and so I could not get comfortable this day, so I had to ditch the sweatshirt to reveal my Ravens jersey. I'm using the MFT Cement Gray Hybrid ink, and I'm stamping that on Nina 110-pound cardstock with my Misty. And you can hardly tell, but you can kind of see it. I want to do some no-line coloring, and this is my favorite ink to use for that. So I'm stamping it twice because I always like to have like backup images. So I am stamping everything twice, which is super easy to do when you're using the Misty. I have everything all lined up. I'm switching my paper over. I'm masking. I made a mask also with that Avery repositionable label sheet. And I'm just stamping. Oh, don't forget about the little pumpkin. I really enjoy using that Cement Gray Hybrid ink to stamp and do the no-line coloring for both the Copic coloring and the polychromos that I'm going to use today. Once you pull the mask off, it looks like three little critters dressed in Halloween gear, taking on the night.
All right, let's color!
If you do not enjoy watching people color, you can skip to 11:24:21 in the video, and that will get you past the coloring. I attempted to color this with my Copic markers, but quickly felt overwhelmed. So I am using my polychromos. I so love coloring with these. It is so relaxing. It takes forever, but I love it. So I try to do it as much as possible when time allows. So I just lay down the darkest areas of color first and blend it out with several shades of that same color. And I really enjoy the way it turns out. I love the look of colored pencils and that that line or the grain of the cardstock tooth. I just really enjoy the way that it looks. It brings back childhood good feelings. So I'm just showing you the black of the hat and like some green and some purple, but I will have a polychromo color map over on my blog. So if you're on YouTube, just head on over to my blog and you'll see this polychromo color map. And I like to pin those and then go refer to them later at a time where I'm using my colored pencils to remember colors or to be inspired by colors or something like that. I can never remember all the names of the different colors, especially with something new to me like these polychromos. So I have to write them down, and pinning them or saving the color combinations or other people's color combinations really helps me with my own coloring. So it just might be something you're interested in if you haven't tried Pinterest, which I have. I love me some Pinterest. I really did try to pick some traditional Halloween colors. I always feel very inspired to make Halloween cards, although I really haven't given out many Halloween cards except until last year. Last year was my first year giving out a ton of Halloween cards, and I loved it, every minute of it. So I think Halloween is super fun. Here is how my critters turned out. I think they're super adorable. And can you believe it? This is my fussy cutting face, y'all. I sure have been doing a lot of fussy cutting lately. For all the complaining that I do, I sure have been doing it. But I really didn't hate it this time. It turned out pretty good. I have to pat myself on the back. But now I'm going to cut the background that I've inked strategically with this Wonky stitched rectangle die. I love this die, and I think it suits the card well. So I cut down my background with the second to largest, my favorite things, Wonky stitched rectangle die, and now I need a sentiment. I like this Frightfully Sweet one, but first I used a ceramic cutting tool to clip out a little bit more of that background to show through. I like doing that, I guess. Moving on, now I have this apricot zing embossing powder, but I think I might use this one called Cricket. It's a very bright neon green. I don't know, we'll see.
Let's do it.
So we're going to do some heat embossing. I'm going to take the sentiment that says, have a frightfully sweet Halloween. And I'm going to take some purple tape and mask off the top and the bottom of the sentiment. We're going to do some trick embossing tricks. It's not really that tricky. It's really easy, actually. So I just tape off the sentiment that I don't want to emboss right now. Okay, so that's the top and the bottom for me. Really important to treat with the EK6S powder tool. Get it nice and inky with some Versamark ink. Pull off the tape, stamp it down, get it nice and good, even pressure. I am grabbing a piece of copy paper to contain my embossing powder a little bit. I don't repot all of my embossing powders, just the ones I use most often. This one I don't use on every card, so this I have to funnel back into the little tiny container. So the copy paper really helps me contain that mess. So now that we've got our little piece nice and heated up, we're going to put it right back into the MISTI in the same exact spot in which we had it before. I'm cutting down those pieces of purple tape that I used before so that they're a little bit straighter from me ripping it. That way it helps me align those smaller sentiments a little bit easier. So I'm inking up the top and the bottom of that sentiment with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamping it down onto the background. We're still going to emboss this only with clear embossing powder so that it will appear black on my card. We're going to add that and heat it up just as we did before with the neon green embossing powder. And so now we have a little bit of warpage, but that's okay because we're going to use some craft foam behind this. I'm going to apply the craft foam with double-sided adhesive, therefore it allowing my panel to pop up so elegantly. So now that I have my card panel popped up onto my light gray card base, I'm going to use Scotch 3M foam adhesive to pop up my images that I so carefully cut out with my hands. And I'm going to use a Copic multi-liner to enhance the cement shapes that I made with my ink blending. I love how this card turned out. I think it's fabulous. I hope you had a good time making it with me, and I'll see you next time.
You're chasing him with a chicken.
Where are we going, Dexter? Where are we going?
To preschool, that's mine.
To your preschool, and you packed a backpack? Can I see it? Look at that backpack. And what did you put in it? What's in there? Show us. Oh, you've got an applesauce. A bag of applesauce in a bag.
Rocks.
Rocks.
And dinos.
And dinosaurs.
And a pencil.
And a pencil.
I really need paper.
Oh, you really need paper. Okay. What's that? You got a notebook?
Yeah.
All right, put it in your backpack. Where are we going, Tim?
To my preschool.
Just for a little bit, not for like the first day. We're just going to pay for the preschool, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta pay for the preschool. Yay!
To preschool.
I'm going to preschool. He's not even. We're just going to pay a bill, and I forgot the paperwork.
Hi. Going back.
Where are we going now?
Now we're going to the preschool with the paperwork. She just smacked you in the face.
You're chasing him with a chicken.